I hope everyone is having a great evening and getting ready, hopefully, to engage. And for those of you who have already started voting, hopefully you'll be willing at some point after we watch Madam VP maybe do the town hall, have an opportunity to talk about how the voting is going. You can have an opportunity to talk about how voting is going at places where we've already started voting. Okay, so it's going to be very fast beginning because we want to give a chance to ensure that we get to watch Madam VP. So I will zoom through the introduction much faster than I normally do. So it's Africans in the Diaspora for Harris-Walz. Thank you everyone for joining us here tonight. I usually tell the story of how we start, but I'm not going to do it this time. I think most people who have heard it. I would just want to say thank you for being here and to remind everyone that as immigrants, things are a little different for us. Permanent residents can donate, but not everybody can vote. Only citizens can vote. Citizens and permanent residents can donate, but if you're not a citizen, you can encourage citizens to vote. If you're not a citizen or permanent resident, you can still help canvass, knock on doors, make phone calls, and volunteer. And you can still get 10 people who can vote to go out and vote. You can still get 10 people who can register to vote to go out and register. So just want to make sure that we're clear. Remember, you can only donate if you're a permanent resident or a U.S. citizen. You can only register to vote if you're a U.S. citizen. Those are the rules of the electoral process here in the U.S. But that doesn't stop you from volunteering. No matter what your status is, you can volunteer, you can help, you can make phone calls, you can do everything. Okay? And I will turn it over to Fawad. We just want to do a quick thing and get Dr. Bull to give us our openings statement.
Good evening, everyone, and Parmata, thank you, and good evening to our guests. We are all excited, as fatigued as we are. It feels like we've been campaigning for the last 10 years, but I think just speaking with Yvette before this webinar started, deep down in my soul, I believe the better angels of this country will really prevail, that we are going to win. And I really believe, I mean, I've traveled a lot of states in the US. There's still a lot of good people, irrespective of all the toxic stuff we see. And we're hopeful. We've done the work. We're excited. And I can't wait for this to be over with.
Yes, 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 yes. We're blessed. We are in a space and in a place in time where we can actually do these things. And by the grace of God, the end of it all will come to fruition. What we desire and what we need to happen in this country, because the effect will not just be here, it will also be international. People need to realize that there's going to be an international effect, not just in the US. So on that note, we are going to have, Dr. Bull to give us our opening inspiration and words of to lift us up. And Dr. Bull.
Well, thank you very much, and welcome again, panelists, and all supporters of Kamala Harris and Walz. The moment is here. It's 13 days to go. We've been in this fight from day one, and we are not going to give up. We may be fatigued, we may be tired, but as Tim Walz always says, you have plenty of time to sleep when you're dead. And so for the next 13 days, we're going to fight it. And we are beginning to see traction in North Carolina. And I know we're all inspired. The early voting numbers are very inspiring. We have a lot of young people who are voting. But we cannot lose focus at this time, because I know we've each done our civic duty. But that is enough. That is not enough because it's just the beginning of the civic duty. Now is the time we have to start calling our friends, our relatives, and those we know to remind them to vote. If ever there is a time for a pyramid scheme, this is the time. That one person brings 5, each of the 5, they bring another 5. This is the time we have to do it. We cannot relent. I'm tracking the data in North Carolina. Right now, we are 21% voting, and I'm just holding my breath for North Carolina to get to at least 45 or 50% of voting before the polls close for early voting, because we know historically in North Carolina, the Republicans outnumber Democrats 2-1 on voting day. And so we need to make sure we mobilize, because a lot of people get discouraged when they see that line. I think it's a Republican tactic. They know they've taken the day off. They could stand in that line for 6 hours, and folks who just do drive-by to vote are discouraged, they go home. This is the time we need to talk to folks. We've gone through the RSVP. We've all registered to vote. In North Carolina, you're doing same-day registration voting, and we have folks on the ground who are doing that with college students. And tomorrow I've been invited to go to Queen's University. We're going to go talk to the students to get them out. You could register and vote the same time in North Carolina, and they need to do it soon. We've all done our best to sponsor this campaign and continue to sponsor it. Now is the time to vote, which is the part of the RSVP. And we know we've done it. Let's continue to push it. After we vote, we need to promote this ticket. It is the most consequential. I called the Trump team Hurricane Trump. In North Carolina, it's getting stronger and stronger. I know we have a category 5 on the weather channels. Right now, it feels like a category 10 hurricane about to make a landfall in North Carolina. But we are not going to make sure it lands in North Carolina. It's going to go where it belongs, in the ocean somewhere, and dissipate. That is the move, and students are doing it. We're pushing. So don't give up. We'll continue to fight. We are not going back. We're going forward, because we know when we fight, we win. And we are going to win this election. And North Carolina is going to be Tar Heel blue or Duke blue, but blue would happen in Carolina. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bull. That was great. And so it's a good segue to our special guest tonight, Yvette Lewis, who is currently senior advisor to Maryland Senate candidate, U.S. candidate for the Maryland, to represent Maryland on Capitol Hill, Angela Alsobrooks. She's also 2 times former chair of the Maryland Democratic Party. And under her leadership in 2022, we made history here in the state of Maryland 3-folds or 4-folds, if you want to be real. We were able to elect our first Black governor in the state of in the history of the state of Maryland, first woman comptroller, elect our first Black attorney general, and elect our first Asian lieutenant governor. And this has all happened under the leadership of Yvette Lewis. She hit the ground running. The minute the primaries were over, I think even before then, she was she was already getting everyone, and we were on the ground, and things were getting done. And that's how we're able to win all these seats in the state of Maryland. And so we're in a place now where we can be proud of the state, and it's because this woman was leading the Maryland Democratic Party at the time. And I'm so happy that she's here. She's an inspirational speaker, and I'm glad that she's the one we got here the last meeting before the last meeting, because we need to mobilize, and people are feeling burned out. And I think Yvette can give us a little boost because I've been in rooms where she really boosts us up. So, Yvette, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for having me. I am delighted to be here. I'm excited. I am tired, as we all are, but I get really energized when I'm around motivated Democrats like I am tonight. That's what feeds me. That's where I get my energy, because we could be any place else, all of us, but we are so committed and so devoted to what we know is possible, not only in the state of Maryland, but in this country. That we're here tonight and we'll be here all the way through Election Day when we finally get the result that I know in my heart we are going to get. Because as was said, I think it is time for our better angels to take over. We've been in a 10-year turmoil ever since Donald Trump entered our universe. And it's amazing how desensitized we've become to all of the toxicity that is out there. But it's also amazing to me that we are still showing up because we are hopeful that one day that will be gone. And it is in our power to make sure that it is gone. And we can turn the page, as our vice president, soon to be president, says. We can turn the page. We have the power to turn the page. We have the power to not hear Donald Trump's voice anymore. We have the power to not have the news stories led by stories about Donald Trump. That is our power. And that is something that I think we all need to recognize and embrace and then use. One of the things that I know in my work is the other side. The other side knows how powerful your voice is. They know how powerful your vote is. That's why they try to suppress it. We have got to recognize the power that we have, because they do. And that is what I want to talk to you tonight about, recognizing and using our power and using our voice. Because the one thing that a politician respects, reveres, and fears the most is a consistent voter, because you determine whether or not they keep their jobs. You determine whether or not they continue to hold power and represent us, and they know that. If you are a consistent voter, then your voice is heard. And this is what I want everybody to understand. Your consistency gives you the power that you need to get our elected officials to be and do what we need them to be and do, so that we will have what we deserve as citizens, not only of this state of Maryland, but of the United States of America. We deserve to have things, and we deserve to have politicians that provide us with the things that we put them in office to do for all of us. I left the Maryland Democratic Party. I was the longest serving chair in the history of the party, but I left the party because I wanted to support our next senator, Angela Alsobrooks. I wanted to go and work for her campaign. And I wanted to work for her campaign as her senior advisor for a number of reasons. Number one, I believed in her vision. I believed in what she wanted to do. I believed it was necessary for us to have representation in our delegation because there are no women in our delegation. I believe it is important to have a person that lives like and works like and looks like half of the state of Maryland. Half of the state of Maryland is women. We have no women in our delegation, and we don't have a woman of color in our delegation. I think that is important to have a seat at the table, because if you listen to the news reports, it's the Black women that everybody is coming to save the Democratic Party. Well, it's time for a Black woman to have that seat at the table. And she is not just a woman, a Black woman. She is a woman who happens to be Black, but she is a competent woman. She is someone who is so well prepared. And all you have to do is look at what she's done in Prince George's County. And I can talk about that because she's not only my friend and a candidate that I'm supporting, but she's my county executive. And I have seen the improvements here in Prince George's County under her leadership, including us maintaining our AAA bond rating, including us having our first freestanding cancer center due to her, including us breaking ground on 8 new schools this year, 10 last year, for a total of 18 new schools, including making sure that we have a maternal health care center for women, including bringing the FBI to Maryland, so that we can have the infrastructure, the resources, the retail, the jobs, everything that will be necessary for Maryland to be successful, but not just Maryland, Prince George's County. I think that she is probably one of the finest people that I know and one of the smartest people that I know. She's such a quick study, and she's an excellent, excellent listener. She has traveled this state from one corner to the other, listening and getting to know the citizens of Maryland. And when she walks in a room, you don't know her when she walks in a room, but you do know her when she walks out of the room, and you're committed to vote for her when she walks out of the room. And all of the polling indicates that people are in full support of Angela Alsobrooks to be our next senator. But it's also important for her to have that seat, because we know that Joe Manchin is not going to run. We know then that we are a 50-50 Senate, 50-50. She would be that 51st vote. She would break the tie so that it's not necessary for the vice president to break the tie. We would have those 51 seats, holding on to what we have and bringing her into the Senate. Larry Hogan, bless his heart, he claims that he's going to be independent, but if he was going to be independent, he could have run as an independent. He didn't run as an independent, he ran as a Republican. He put on the Republican jersey, and he's part of that team. No matter what he tries to tell you, he will be a Republican. And when it is votes that matter, he'll have to vote with his caucus, Supreme Court justices. He is not going to buck his caucus if they need his vote to get a Supreme Court justice in. He is not going to be able to vote to codify Roe, because the vote will never come up if the Republicans have the majority in the Senate. He can say whatever he wants to say, but there will be no vote. So that's easy. He'll never be able to stand up against, all of a sudden he's found religion and says that he's against assault rifles, wants to ban assault weapons, and is for gun control. He didn't govern like that because he vetoed legislation here in Maryland, but all of a sudden he says he's going to do that when he gets into the Congress. That's not going to happen either, because that vote will never see the light of day. So Larry Hogan, that's having this election year conversion of all of these things that he's going to be, which will be totally different than the Larry Hogan that we've known for the last 8, 9, 10 years, that would be a shock to everybody. So don't be fooled. Larry Hogan was handpicked by those Republicans in Congress, in the Senate, that see him as a vote for their agenda. Because when you have the majority, you control the agenda. We need to make sure that Kamala Harris wins, but that she also has the people in place that will help her move her agenda forward, so that we can start to bring about those changes in this country that I know people want. They did a thing on the news just yesterday. They were asking all of these conservatives, do you agree with this policy? Do you agree with that policy? They were going through everything that Kamala has talked about. The $6,000 child tax credit, $50,000 for small businesses in credits for small businesses to start a business, and also up from $5,000, the $25,000 credit for first-time homeowners, capping prices of prescription drugs, also making sure that Medicare can pay for people to stay in their homes. And as someone who has a mother in a nursing home, that would be so helpful to so many families, when they can keep their loved ones at home because the care that they need can be provided at home. Those are all Kamala's policies. And I will tell you, people agreed with every single thing that they were asked. And then they were shocked to find out, well, that's what Kamala Harris supports. Then they asked another lady, why are you supporting Donald Trump? I'm supporting him because I love his policies. And so they asked her, well, what policy? Well, she couldn't name one. She said, well, he got rid of Roe v. Wade. So they said, oh, so that means that you're pro-life. She said, oh, no, I'm pro-choice. This is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with. This is why education is so important when we're talking to people, to make sure that they understand what they're voting for, because there's so much misinformation that they consume on a regular basis. They don't even know half the stuff that's out there that will be helpful to them. They don't know everything that Donald Trump will do to them, but Kamala will do for them. And that's a difference. That's a difference. And Angela will be that support that Kamala needs so that they can work in lockstep to providing the best for the American people. Donald Trump talks constantly about himself when he's on the road. Kamala and Angela talk about you. They talk about what your needs are. Angela talks about price gouging and wanting to bring prices down. Angela talks about preserving reproductive care. And let's be really clear about what reproductive care is. It's about a woman's right to make decisions for herself and not to have anyone in the private confines of that space where she makes those decisions, except those people that she chooses to have a part of that conversation. It should not be the government. It should not be Ted Cruz. It should not be Lindsey Graham. It should not be any of those people. It should be those people that she wants a part of that conversation, or no one. If she wants no one a part of that conversation, it is her decision to make. And one of the reasons this is so personal to Angela is because she has a daughter, and she says, my daughter now will be growing up with less rights than I had and than her grandmother had. But more importantly, she has a daughter that's in school in Georgia, a state where a woman doesn't have a choice about her own reproductive health. So it's personal for her. She's very committed to making sure that she fights for that. So this is about health care, health choices, and health decisions. Whatever those decisions are, it should be left to the woman to make those decisions. Then we talk about other ways that she and Kamala both know that we as a society need to come together and to stop the fighting and to stop the divisions. The most important thing that we all need to talk about is how to get back to civility and how we talk to each other and how we treat each other. And if you look at Angela on the stump or Kamala on the stump, there's joy, but there's also genuine concern about the people that they're talking to. All you have to do is listen to the other side, and there's no concern at all. I don't hear anything that says that you have a place in this administration if Donald Trump wins. I hear nothing that says, Yvette, your concerns will be taken into consideration. I hear nothing like that. And I feel that there are so many like me. I know there are so many like me that are ready, as Kamala Harris says, to turn the page. It's time for us to look forward to a different way of dealing with each other, a different way of solving problems, a different way of even how we speak to and about each other that we haven't experienced in quite some time. And it's so interesting to me. I can walk outside and talk to anybody in the grocery store, anywhere. And as long as we don't talk about politics, we're just regular people, right? And we should not have a politics that divides us so much that we can't even have genuine conversations with each other, because it is not a cliche to say that we all really do want pretty much the same things. We want good health care. We want quality education for our children. We want affordable housing. We want to be able to have a decent standard of living and to be able to afford the things that we make up the basic necessities of life. We want to be able to age gracefully. We want to be able to know that we will be taken care of in a way that's humane and respectful as we age in this country. We want our young people to grow up with a sense of self-worth, but also a sense of respect and pride in those who have gone before, and not denigrate and demean those that are older or those that disagree. So we also want young people to know that there's a path of various paths to success for them. For example, college or technical education. All of them are worthy ways of becoming contributing members of society. But we want to respect and honor that and lift everybody up in whatever respective path their lives take them into, respecting everybody's choices and just making sure that we live together peacefully. So with Kamala and with Angela, we are going to get that in both of them. And I'm excited. I'm thrilled because I get to go vote tomorrow. My husband and I are going first thing in the morning. I wanted to vote in person. I didn't want to do it like we did in 2020 with the pandemic. I want to physically be there and do the machines and everything that is important. We did it for the primary. We didn't request a ballot for the primary because we wanted to vote in person. We're voting in person tomorrow morning. I'm very excited about that. And I just want to leave you with one thought, because I know that we're going to take a few questions before the vice president starts her town hall. But I just wanted to leave you with one thought, one very important thought, and something for you to think about. If Donald Trump loses, if he loses, in addition to never hearing his voice again, he will lose his freedom. If Donald Trump wins, we could lose ours. Think about that. Thank you all so much.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? If anyone has any questions, you can put it in the chat with the public. Does any committee member have any questions for Ms. Lewis?
There are no questions in Q&A right now, so we'll wait to see. Thank you, Ms. Lewis.
Well, it has been my pleasure. I want you, if you have not voted, vote. But when you go to vote, just be joyful. Just be joyful when you vote. Say a prayer, whoever you pray to, or however you choose to pray, whatever you do in that quiet moment of meditation, which I do. And what I do is say thank you for this privilege of exercising my free will to decide who I want to govern me, who I want to lead me. Thank you to my ancestors who made this privilege possible for me. Thank you to my grandfather who took me to register to vote. Thank you to all that came before me that made it possible for me to stand in this space at this time and make this choice. And then thank you for the choice that I'm about to make. And I urge all of you to do the same as you cast your ballots. So thank you.
So a question just popped up, Yvette. So somebody says, how can they speak to people who think that Donald Trump will be good for the economy?
Well, you can say exactly what Barack Obama said. He wasn't the economy that Donald Trump claims was Barack Obama's economy. An economy that Barack Obama had put in place when Donald Trump walked into the White House. The first thing he did was gave tax cuts to the wealthy. And we were already starting to see the deficits tick up. And then COVID hit. So then the economy tanked as a result of COVID, but also because of bad policies that had been put in place prior to COVID. Joe Biden came into office and not only helped us rid this country of this devastating pandemic to the point where we were managing it. It wasn't managing us. By getting us vaccinated, by getting us the stimulus checks, by putting the Inflation Reduction Act and the Infrastructure Act in place, bringing back all these manufacturing jobs, bringing jobs back, decreasing inflation, which was high because of the remedial steps that had to be taken in order for us to recover. Inflation is down, job creation is up, Black unemployment is up. Students are having college loans forgiven so that they can get on a path to financial success. So there's so much that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have cleaned up, and she will only continue the success by building on the programs that she's put in place. Economists have already said her plans will be far more beneficial to the economy than Donald Trump's plans. His plans are going to increase the deficit, and also said that people making less than $350,000, and I would imagine that's all of us, are going to see their taxes go up as a result of these tariffs, which are sales taxes, and it will be passed on to the American people. We're going to see our taxes go up. And her plans, according to economists, several economists, are far more practical and will be far more beneficial to all of us. So when they tell you he's better on the economy, I guess he is, because for 2 years, it was Barack Obama's economy.
Wow. Wow. We have one of our members, only one hand up, Maureen.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Lewis, for the great conversation. So my question is, so I know you spoke about it's time for a Black woman, for a woman, in fact, to be on that seat. What is the difference right now that makes it possible, or is the community or the people ready for a woman leader and a Black woman leader?
We are ready for a woman leader. That's why Angela's going to win, and that's why Kamala Harris is going to win, because we are saying that we're ready. Let me tell you something. Somebody said, well, what is the difference? What can a woman do that a man can't do? Why is it important, for a woman to be there? What's the difference? I said, the one thing a woman can do is multitask. Yeah. And I'm telling the truth. We can do several things because that's the way we're built. That's the way we're wired. It's not a slap on men, but that's what we have to do. Think of the number of things that we juggle at the same time on a day-to-day basis, right? Because that's what we've always had to do. And it's just, as I said, part of our DNA. So part of that, and we're also natural nurturers. And sometimes This country just needs nurturing. Sometimes this country needs a kind of nurturing that is part of our DNA as well, that makes it easier for us to absorb and feel a little differently than a man is able to absorb and feel. It doesn't make one right and the other one wrong. It's just different. And I think that that difference is what is so needed in this country right now. All of us have mothers. All of us have had a mother to wrap their arms around them in some way to show them that they love. Now, these could be biological mothers, adopted mothers. These could be, community mothers. All of us have had some kind of motherly love in our lives, and I think we may be sorely in need of that right now in this country, quite frankly.
Yes, somebody asked, how do you convince older adults that find Trump's promise to get rid of taxes and Social Security to vote for Harris?
Wait a minute, how do you convince what?
Older adults that believe Trump's promise that he would get rid of taxes on Social Security.
Well, first of all, it would have to go through the Congress. So Trump will say anything that has to be said. You also have to look at those people that are actually paying into Social Security. The Social Security Trust Fund, according to economists, once again, is going to run out of money in 5 years under Donald Trump's plan. So there will be no Social Security. So his plan about cutting taxes, that's easy to say. There will be no Social Security with what he's planning to do. That was in the economic report that Kamala Harris put out as well. In terms of paying taxes, I pay taxes on Social Security. I do, because I feel that that's my civic duty. That's what I think I'm supposed to do. I have no problem with paying taxes. I have a problem with paying with those who don't pay taxes. I have a problem with Donald Trump, who doesn't pay taxes. I have a problem with billionaires paying less in taxes than you do. So I do have a problem with that. And it won't be necessary as far as the economy is concerned if the tax code is changed and people pay their fair share. The tax rate was reduced ridiculously low under Donald Trump. It just needs to be raised several percentage points. It won't hurt. Bill Gates and others say they're willing to pay the additional taxes if it will cut the deficit and lower costs. The other thing is Donald Trump's tax cuts that he put in place are due to sunset in 2025. Angela and Kamala both have said they're going to let them go. That's how you bring some kind of stability to the economy. Get rid of these deficits and lower prices.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I don't see any other questions in the Q&A.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis.
Well, it has been my pleasure. Thank you so much. I tell you what, after the election and when we win and we're all in a happy mood, invite me back and I'll stay on long enough just to raise a glass we'll have a toast together, a toast and celebration. I would like that very much.
That would be
Let's
so
claim
great.
it. We're going to claim it tonight. I will be back
Amen.
to celebrate. How about that?
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. We
Amen
claim
to
it.
that.
Good,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Have a good
Bye.
night.
You
Bye-bye.
too.
Well
All
done.
right.
Excellent, excellent.
So what do we now do, guys? Do we stay here or do we jump on and watch Kamala? Because I'm divided.
I mean, we can.
So we can stay on and watch and like put comments in the chat. If we want to do that, we can bring everybody on, and that way we can be interactive with the public. And if anybody wants to watch it, they can. I was going to try to do a share screen, but I've not been able to get into CNN online for me to do the share screen. But we can watch it and then talk about it. Is everybody cool, good with that?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions from let's find if we got any questions from the participants?
Let me open that up so they could talk.
Yeah. All right. Good seeing you, sir.
Good seeing you too, man. How you doing, Chris?
Good, man. Good, good.
Unfortunately, you don't have my full attention because my eyes are like
It's
I'm
all
missing
good,
out.
man. I'm about to switch
I'm
too.
leaving this platform for a second. I want to hear her. Love you guys.
All right. Martha, I think I'll be able to stream it. I'm gonna work on that, but let me bring everybody else on.
So as you bring everybody on, I just want to urge people to get out there and you need to vote. Please don't, we can't keep doing this every week, just talking about it, and you're not gonna vote. You have to get out and vote. So I know I was talking to Fatmata earlier, and I'm excited because it's my first time to vote. So I'm excited. And yes, I'm gonna vote. So I'm excited. And I need people to come with me so that we can go vote. And this Saturday, please sign up for the canvassing. We need more people to join.
Convincing
Yes, we need
General Kelly to release this to the public?
register.
I think to your point, this is all about the audience.
Thank you.
Paying homage to how politics used to be, it was traditional to have someone from the opposite party.
I'm sorry, independent voters are pissing me off, man. What do you undecided voters? What are you undecided about? Maybe it's just me. I'm just gonna listen to us talk. I don't even want to hear their questions.
They
to
have
be
a right,
honest.
man, Chris. They have a right to take their time. That's why we're in America.
Like, what do you?
They have a right, and it's good for us. It makes
Everybody
her
has
keep
a
on pushing
right.
her case, like she's doing right now.
I have a right to vote, and I'm gonna vote. So yeah.
No, you have a right to vote. What are you undecided about?
No.
I'm
It's okay to
decided.
be undecided. I like it because it gives us more talking points. She's addressing the world now. She's not talking to that little girl alone. She's talking to everyone who's watching, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna listen to when she's speaking, but
Yeah.
I don't think I want to hear their questions because she's undecided. Did you see the one in Pennsylvania yesterday? Oh my, on MSNBC.
What special would you say?
It was so frustrating to watch.
Hey guys, I streamed it. Can you guys see it?
When I was in the Senate, we're in Washington, other than being vice president.
Can you guys see it?
I have never in my
Not yet. Black screen.
asked a victim or a witness of a crime. Are you a
Black
Democrat?
screen. We can hear her, but no
The only thing I
no
have
video.
ever asked, are you okay? And I do believe that is what the American people deserve in their president, and not someone who makes decisions based on who voted for them or what is in their personal interest. And I
How about now?
reference that because, as
Oh.
we know, it has
Black
been
screen.
revealed.
We can
Donald
hear her
Trump was
talk,
the
but it's black screen.
during extreme disasters, when it came time to determine how those areas, those people who had been traumatized by extreme weather would get relief, he asked the question, did they vote for him? I believe the American people deserve better. And they deserve a president who is focused on solutions, not sitting
Did
in
you
the
see
Oval
this,
Office
Chris?
plotting their revenge and retribution.
Let me introduce you to Eric Swinson. He runs a service desk for
Chris,
an
is
IT
this black
company
screen
in,
or is
Contra
it
Costa,
Yeah, it's still black.
Pennsylvania.
It's still showing the black screen. No
As
image.
an independent, he says he's undecided. Eric?
Thank you, Anderson. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you, Eric.
So my question is concerning groceries. Grocery
Yeah.
prices have gone up quite a bit in the last 4 years. And some people blame former President Trump. Some people blame President Biden.
Fuad, you should take that off because it's
Correct.
sort of,
And
it's
what would you
talking
do to bring
and not, we
prices
don't see
down
anything.
for-
Hey, Lucien, you have a question or a comment? I see Lucien's got her hands up.
Well, could somebody answer my question? It's the last question. Whilst we're waiting
Oh,
for Lucian.
Mr. Kwame, do you want to? You can go ahead and talk about it. Go ahead and ask your question again. Go ahead, Kwame.
It's in the chat.
I'm gonna read it. Palestinian Americans campaign for Gaza. The Chinese Americans may lobby for TikTok. what can we diaspora Africans speak to us as an issue to distinctly identify us in this election?
Yeah, thanks for reading that, Fatma. That's the question. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Let me see. Is Ike, are you still on? I think Ike might be able to help us with this one. But I know the Madam VP, they have plans to set up a diaspora office, I believe. And there are other plans in place later to cater to the African continent itself. I don't have details, but let's see if Brother Ike can help us here with that question. But she does have specific plans for the continent when she comes in.
Good, yeah. In case we see other Africans too, when we go out to maybe campaign or go on the trip on the 26th, or even other or maybe even a white person can ask us as an African. So just a speaking point. That's all I was trying to come up with here. Talking points,
Yeah, I believe there are plans in place to put a diaspora office in somewhere close to the White House. That's one, big change.
Yeah, that's major. Yeah.
Yeah, and
on a national level, yeah, not just for DC, but like on a USA wide scale. Yeah, okay. Because you have the mayor's office on African affairs right now, but this diaspora office from the White House, that's nice. Yeah.
That's one of the one big thing that we heard. I mean, over the course of these calls, we've been doing these for like 10, 12 weeks now. And we did get that feedback from one of the folks. That's the plan going forward. Specifically to Africa, again, Africa is huge. Everyone has their own agenda. But we're trying to get a voice. That's another reason why we started the donation thing. We've got one dedicated link, Africans in the Diaspora. We've been raising funds through that link so they know that we are a recognized affinity group, and we're trying to get a seat at the table as Africans.
I contributed to Roland Martin, then I contributed to this one. Roland Martin, I heard about that one first. You know, when they said, I think it was Black Men for Harris. That was before it was women, of course, that did it for Harris, Black women, and then with the Black. And this was even before even Walz was appointed, I think, so it's chosen, those first 2 days. Then, diaspora Africans now. Yeah, that's nice.
Dr. Fuad, this is our fellow Bison talking to us right now, Mr. Kwame Fitzgerald. I don't know.
I'm not a Bison. I'm Terps. I went to Frabe College, and I went to University of Maryland. I'm Terps, When I go to Bison, I'm in African Studies Department. Those things, as a journalist, I do those things.
Thank you. By the way, you're talking to Christopher, if you're not aware.
Oh, Christopher, Dakin Davis? You're on board, okay. All right, so I get the voice now. How many people do we have on board? I can't even see the other members. Everybody's hidden. Do we have 200?
I have a question.
We got about 30 something participants, but we've gone up to 100 some weeks. We got 30. I think everyone's watching
and the next week is great. Sorry. Okay. Thanks, Christopher, for your responses. Sorry to
I have a question.
Go ahead, Sunkari.
Yeah. The drive on Saturday. Where is it and what time? Because I missed that part.
Very good talk. Yeah.
Did you sign up? Fatma, do you have any other information for Saturday? I know we meet. The bus is leaving at 8:30.
Yeah, so if somebody signs up, they're gonna get a text. They're gonna get text messages. They're gonna get email. They'll provide all the information.
I didn't see the sign up. I only saw the sign up for this Zoom. How can one give the sign up? Yeah.
Okay, we'll post that in the chat real quick. There's Maureen, Fatmata, do you want to post the Pennsylvania? Is it late or can we still sign up? Can they still sign up?
Fatmata, can you send it to me?
Yes, we'll post it in the chat. Just a second.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I've been getting the text and emails, but nothing specific per se, besides that one a week back. So hopefully something else comes out by tomorrow or Friday. What, you still trying to share?
Now, in
Yeah, I'm
20
still trying to
states,
share. I could
we
see
have
it, but
Trump
you guys
abortion ban
are seeing it blank.
that
So I'm working
include
on it.
punishing.
What? Send me the link. Send me the link.
From what can you send it for me?
Yes, give me a second. I'm gonna post it in the chat.
Thanks, Maureen.
You're welcome.
85.
Could somebody tell us what station the Kamala has been interviewed on? Because
It's
I
on
know it was
CNN.
NBC.
It's on CNN.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then I posted the link on the chat for the
So if
review.
everyone can get on CNN, we can kind of watch it together. Because CNN requires you to have an account with one of the cable channels for you to open it. And share it live or have a YouTube TV account.
Okay, let me see if I can log in. Let me see if I can do it. Hold on.
Great.
Yeah.
It's possible because
Let
when
me
you look
try.
at the midterms, in so-called red
For
states.
anyone who wanted the link to sign up for the
The
PA
ballot, the American people.
Saturday canvassing is in the chat.
She's registered with no party affiliation. She's a student at the University of Pennsylvania. She said she's leaning towards supporting you and has yet to make up a final decision because she isn't sure who's better for the economy. Leanne?
Hi, Vice President. Thank you for being here today. Considering you've been in the position of Vice President for the past 4 years under the Biden.
Sahai, you have a question?
How can we expect you to deviate from the direction of that administration?
Okay, Sahai.
How can we differentiate your policy and your
What's that?
violence?
That's a great question, and thank you. Well, first of all, my administration will not be a continuation of the Biden administration. I bring to this role my own ideas and my own experience. I represent a new generation of leadership on a number of issues and believe that we have to actually take new approaches.
Sahai Kibede,
About in terms
you can unmute yourself.
my experience that leads to that priority includes what I did to take on the big banks around the foreclosure crisis, when I brought billions of dollars to homeowners that were the subject of predatory lending. I know what homeownership means.
This is CNN radio, eh?
To mention what it meant to my mother.
Okay.
Just CNN.
Saved up.
Okay, got you.
When I was a teenager.
I don't even see the video. You can turn up the volume again. Yes.
One second, we're trying to share. Fuad, hold on. I might, if you're not able to, hold on, let me
I've
try.
done that.
I
I
might
know
be
what
able to
that
share.
requires.
Are you able to
You
see
shouldn't
mine?
have to.
No, still not seeing it. One second, hold
In
on.
order to do the
Okay, Fuad.
small businesses so that they can invest in themselves and grow, and in the process, invest in communities, invest in neighborhoods, and strengthen our economy overall.
Fuad, I
So
might be able to share now.
about a new approach, a new
It's still blank.
generational leadership based on new ideas.
Okay.
Okay, let me try. Hold on. Can you see that?
Yeah, I don't think CNN wants you to do this. I think they're only allowing it on TV.
So.
Are you guys able to see, at least see her on the screen or no?
No.
It's a
What do you
black
think?
screen. I don't think CNN is allowing. It's a
Okay.
black screen.
And
Yeah, Chris, I think they probably got a lock on it because I've tried it. I mean, you can hear it, but you cannot see it. I could see it, but you guys can see it. I think they didn't want anyone streaming it because obviously they want you to watch it on TV. That's how they get their ratings, I think. Did you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Sure.
Yeah. When I share it, I could see it, but you guys can see it. Because I think CNN wants you to watch the TV instead.
Did you try sharing from the link I sent?
Oh, you have a link?
Okay, put it in the question.
Okay, let's see here. I don't see a link there. Oh, okay. Let me see.
I'll share it. I'll do the screen. Hold on.
Are you able to see it?
Hold on. I'm gonna do the share screen.
Yeah.
For citizenship. And that includes requiring people, hardworking people, to earn citizenship and do it in a comprehensive, humane, and orderly manner.
Let me ask you about that. I mean, you talk about the bill that Donald Trump quashed, and that was in 2024. You talk about the bill he tried to get passed in 2021. That wasn't able to get passed. 2022, 2023, there were record border crossings. Your administration took hundreds of executive actions. It didn't stem the flow. Numbers kept going up.
Oh, good.
And told them, don't put it
Got it?
forward. Kill
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Because
That's
it's
right.
going to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. We have
Didn't
to have a
answer the
secure
question, though.
border, and we have to have a comprehensive pathway for citizenship. And that includes requiring people, hardworking people, to earn citizenship and do it in a comprehensive, humane, and orderly manner.
Let me ask you about that. I mean, you talk about the bill that Donald Trump quashed, that was in 2024. You talk about the bill he tried to get passed in 2021. That wasn't able to get passed. 2022, 2023, there were record border crossings. Your administration took hundreds of executive actions. It didn't stem the flow. Numbers kept going up. Finally, in 2024, just in June, 3 weeks before the first presidential debate with Joe Biden, you institute executive actions that have dramatic impact, really shut down people crossing over. Why didn't your administration do that in 2022, 2023?
First of all, you're exactly right, Anderson. And as of today, we have cut the flow of immigration by over half. In fact, the numbers I saw most recently, illegal immigration.
But if it
is
was
low.
that
But
easy
hold on,
with
let me
that
finish.
Stop.
action, why not
I
just
hate when he
2022,
does that.
2023?
Why are you
Because
interrupting
we
her?
were
You don't do
working
that with
Congress and
him.
hoping that actually we could have a long-term fix to the problem instead of a short-term
You
fix.
couldn't have done one and both at the same time?
Well, here's the thing. We have to understand that ultimately this problem is going to be fixed through congressional action. Congress has the authority and the purse. I hate to use DC terms, but literally they write the checks. Part of the issue is in order to really fix the problem at the border. I was just at the border recently talking with border agents. You know what they talk about? Yes, they are overwhelmed. They're working around the clock. And the other thing that they talk to me about, we need more judges down there to deal with asylum claims. We need more personnel down there to deal with processing. But Anderson, and that's where Congress kicks in terms of dedicating the resources to actually fixing the problem. We have dealt with it such that, to your point, we now, as of today, as of our visit, have lower undocumented immigrants and illegal immigration than Trump when he left office.
That's true.
But we need a permanent solution,
Do you
and that
wish you had
requires
done that?
bipartisan work.
Do you wish you'd done those executive orders in 2022, 2023?
I think we did the right thing, but the best thing that can happen for the American people is that we have bipartisan work happening, and I pledge to you that I will work across the aisle to fix this long-standing problem. I think the American people are demanding it on both sides of the aisle, and it's time we actually put the partisan approach to this aside. We know what can work.
Well, let's talk about this compromise bill that you want to pass if you're elected. You said that's going to be a priority. It includes $650 million in funding for the border wall. That's something Republicans wanted. That was part of the compromise. Under Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall. So remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on, they didn't. How much of that wall did he build? I think the last number I saw is about 2%. And then when it came time for him to do a photo op, you know where he did it? In the part of the wall that President Obama built.
But you agreed to a bill that would earmark $650 million to continue building that wall.
I pledge that I am going to bring forward that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure our border. Yes, I am. And I'm going to work across the aisle to pass a comprehensive bill that deals with a broken immigration system. I think Jackson's question, part of it was to acknowledge that America has always had migration, but there needs to be a legal process for it. People have to earn it. And that's the point that I think is the most important point that can be made, which is we need a president who is grounded in common sense and practical outcomes. Like, let's just fix this thing. Let's just fix it. Why is there any ideological perspective on it? Let's just fix the problem.
To fix the problem, you're doing this compromise bill. It does call for $650 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I'm not afraid of good ideas where they occurred.
So you don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it did not make much sense because he actually didn't do much of anything. I just talked about that wall, right? We just talked about it. He didn't actually do much of anything.
But you do want to build some wall.
I want to strengthen our border.
This is Annalise Keene. She's from Philadelphia. She works as a fundraiser for Habitat for Humanity. She's registered with no party affiliation. She says she's a Democrat. She's leaning toward voting for you, but says she's yet to make her final decision in part because of the conflict in the Middle East. Annalise?
Thank you, and good evening, Madam Vice President. My question is, as president, what would you do to ensure not another Palestinian dies due to bombs being funded by U.S. tax dollars?
So I will say, and I think this is to your point, far too many innocent Palestinian civilians have been killed. It's unconscionable. And we are now at a place where with Sinwar's death, I do believe we have an opportunity to end this war, bring the hostages home, bring relief to the Palestinian people, and work toward a two-state solution where Israel and the Palestinians in equal measure have security, where the Palestinian people have dignity, self-determination, and the safety that they so rightly deserve.
What do you say to voters who are thinking about supporting a third party candidate or staying on the couch, not voting at all because of this issue?
Listen, I am not going to deny the strong feelings that people have. I don't know that anyone who has seen the images who would not have strong feelings about what has happened, much less those who have relatives who have died and been killed. And I know people and have talked with people. So I appreciate that. But I also do know that for many people who care about this issue, they also care about bringing down the price of groceries. They also care about our democracy and not having a president of the United States who admires dictators and is a fascist. They also care about the fact that we need practical, common sense solutions from a leader who is willing to work across the aisle on behalf of the American people and not themselves. They want a president who cares about a fundamental freedom to make decisions about your own body, understanding that we're not trying to change anyone's belief, but let's not have the government telling women what to do with their body.
I want you to meet Beth Sandberg. She's a realtor, a mom of 4 from Bella Cynwyd, Pennsylvania. She's a registered Democrat, says she's undecided because of concerns about anti-Semitism. Beth?
Hi, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Beth.
for remembering we need to bring the hostages home.
Of course.
The rise of anti-Semitism and violence from anti-Semitism has risen greatly on college campuses and on our city streets in the last year. How would you combat this growing trend and protect our young adults?
Thank you, Beth. You are right, and I will say that we have seen a rise in anti-Semitism. It is something that we have to be honest about and we have to deal with. As Attorney General, I actually published a hate crimes report on a regular basis, and anti-Semitism was among the highest forms of hate in our country, and this was before October 7th. And we know what we've seen since. Part of what we've got to do is talk with people so that they understand what are the tropes, what are the roots of what we are seeing, so that we can actually have people be more understanding. We need to have laws in place that make those who would commit crimes on behalf of anti-Semitism and hate, that they pay a serious consequence. We need to have the deterrence so that doesn't happen. We need to ensure that college students are safe in their school and feel safe to be able to go to class. But I'm going to tell you what doesn't help. Again, I invite you to listen and go online to listen to John Kelly, the former chief of staff of Donald Trump, who has told us, Donald Trump said, why aren't my generals like those of Hitler's? Like Hitler, who has referred several times, we've heard the reports for years.
Do you believe Donald Trump is anti-Semitic?
I believe Donald Trump is a danger to the well-being and security of America.
He has said that he's casting himself as a protector of Israel. Do you believe you would be more pro-Israel than Donald Trump?
I believe that Donald Trump is dangerous. I believe that when you have a president of the United States who has said to his generals, who work for him because he is commander-in-chief, these conversations, I assume many of them took place in the Oval Office. And if the president of the United States, the commander-in-chief, is saying to his generals, in essence, why can't you be more like Hitler's generals, Anderson? Come on. This is a serious, serious issue. And we know who he is. He admires dictators, sending love letters back and forth with Kim Jong-un. Talks about the president of Russia, and then most recently, the reports are that in the height of COVID, when most Americans could not get their hands on a COVID test, Americans were dying by the hundreds a day. He secretly sent COVID tests to the president of Russia for his personal use. So again, this election in 13 days is presenting the American people with a very significant decision. And on the one side, on this issue of who is going to model what it means to use the bully pulpit of the President of the United States in a manner that in tone, word, and deed is about lifting up our discourse, fighting against hate, as opposed to fanning the flames of hate, which Donald Trump does consistently. I'm going to tell you, we are an incredible country, and we love our country. Y'all wouldn't be here unless we love our country. And there are certain things where we've just got to come together and realize that we do believe in the importance of healthy debate on real issues, but there are certain standards we've got to have. And, you know, another point that even John Kelly talked about, I believe, and many have, is January 6th, where you have the President of the United States defying the will of the people in a free and fair election and unleashing a violent mob who attacked the United States Capitol. 140 law enforcement officers were attacked. Some were killed. And so I say that to say the American people deserve to have a president who encourages healthy debate, works across the aisle, not afraid of good ideas wherever they come from, but also maintains certain standards about how we think about the role and the responsibility, and certainly not comparing oneself in a clearly admiring way to Hitler.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll have more from the CNN Presidential Town Hall of Vice President Kamala. Hall of Vice President Kamala Harris.
Okay. Anderson annoys me. Anderson annoys me. I gotta say that. So I've said it.
It's the ratings he's after.
Oh,
But I like the way she answered. That was good.
you like the way what?
I said I like the way she talked, and she didn't let him, cut her off.
Right.
Yeah, I like the way she answered.
Yeah.
Good for her. Strong Black woman.
He is so annoying. It's like, and when they have Trump up there, they don't do half the stuff they do.
Oh no, they let him talk. They let him do everything he wants.
You know?
But this time around, God already draw the matter under Trump. Everything he's doing is going out against him. Mike shut off for 20 minutes or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Run out of topic and dance.
Yeah.
God is showing him all the signs, but he's ignoring it.
He's terrible. And I don't understand the concept that their confusion.
They know the polls, they're just saying things, but we're gonna continue to pray.
Yeah.
So the vice president has a number of talks and appearances coming up. I think there's one final one. I'm not sure, November 2nd or something they were saying.
Yeah, in DC, the week
DC,
the Tuesday before.
Where?
Where? It's gonna be same place where Trump had his rally that ended up with the January 6th attack.
That might be Lafayette Park.
Yeah, so she's gonna be over there.
The ellipse, I think one of one of the streets.
Yeah, she's gonna be over there. I'm not sure how to get in there, or if they're inviting people, or
there'll be top security, yeah. But it'll be broadcast all over live.
Yeah, so hopefully there will be a thing where you can go. If that's the case, for those of us here in the DMV, maybe we can plan to make a trip.
Yeah,
and go out there on Tuesday.
That'll be
might be almost like a July 4th something. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be next Tuesday.
Before. Yeah.
Week before the election actually takes place.
The election is on a Tuesday, not so. The 5th is I think, a Tuesday. So it's a Monday.
So,
Okay, the 4th. Oh, okay, it's the 4th. Okay, okay.
No, election day is the
No, the
5th.
4th is a Monday.
Yeah,
Election is the
I
5th.
think I heard next week she's gonna do a final message at the mall.
Yes, she's gonna be at the
Yes.
mall on Tuesday.
Yes.
The Tuesday
And then on
before the
election night, she's gonna be at Howard University, is what I'm hearing. Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm hearing. She's gonna be at Howard. That's where she's gonna watch the election from, at HU.
Okay.
God willing, we'll celebrate that night. It's the fact that this thing is so close, and I do air quotes because there've been a lot of evidence showing that the conservative and whatever are messing with these polls, like pollsters are working with them. So
Polly Market, Peter Thiel.
May I play devil's advocate?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When a question is asked, specific question is asked, I can kind of understand why some undecided voters are kind of undecided.
They're starting back up.
Oh, okay. We can
Yeah,
go.
hold that thought. Hold that thought.
President Biden announced that he was dropping out was to your pastor. And I'm wondering if it wasn't a confessional, if you could say what that conversation was like.
Well, my pastor, Reverend Dr. Amos C. Brown of Third Baptist Church, it was an extraordinary day that Sunday when the president called me, and I instinctively understood
Please share the screen.
of the moment, the seriousness of the moment. I didn't predict or know exactly how that day would play out, and obviously now it's been 3 months since I've been at the top of the ticket. Actually, 3 months as of yesterday. But I just called him. I needed that spiritual kind of connection. I needed that advice. I needed a prayer, and there's a part of the scripture that talks about Esther and a time such as this, and that's what we talked about, and it was very comforting for me. And do you pray every day? I do pray every day. I do pray every day, sometimes twice a day. I grew up, so we grew up a little neighborhood church in Oakland, 23rd Avenue Church of God, and I was raised to believe in a loving God, to believe that your faith is a verb. You live your faith, and that the way that one should do that is that your work and your life's work should be to think about how you can serve in a way that is uplifting other people, that is about caring for other people, and that guides a lot.
Let's go to the voters. I want you to meet Joe Donahue from Bucks County, Pennsylvania. He works in customer service for a local retailer. He serves as a local election official. He's a registered Republican who says he's undecided, doesn't agree with your stance on abortion, but he is concerned about what he calls Trump's demeanor and actions on January 6th. Joe?
Thank you, Madam Vice President, and thank you, Anderson. Madam Vice President, everybody as human beings, we're not perfect. We have our flaws. We make mistakes. We have our weaknesses. And the office of the presidency can sometimes bring those weaknesses out in ways that the incumbent may not expect. What weaknesses do you bring to the table, and how do you plan to overcome them while you're in office?
That's a great question, Joe. Well, I am certainly not perfect, so let's start there. And I think that perhaps a weakness, some would say, but I actually think it's a strength, is I really do value having a team of very smart people around me who bring to my decision-making process different perspectives. My team will tell you, I am constantly saying, let's kick the tire on that. Let's kick the tires on it. Because listen, as I mentioned earlier, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a courtroom prosecutor. I've tried everything from low-level offenses to homicides. And I learned at a very early stage of my career and adult life that my actions have a direct impact on real people in a very fundamental way. When I was Attorney General of California, I was Attorney General of what is the 5th largest economy in the world, and acutely aware that my words could move markets. So I take my role and responsibility as an elected leader very seriously, and I know the impact it has on so many people I may never meet. And that is why I engage and bring folks around. So I may not be quick to have the answer as soon as you ask it about a specific policy issue sometimes, because I'm going to want to research it. I'm going to want to study it. I'm kind of a nerd sometimes, I confess. And some might call that a weakness, especially if you're, you know, in an interview or just kind of, you know, being asked a certain question and you expected to have the right answer right away. But that's how I work.
I don't think I've ever heard the former president admit a mistake. A lot of politicians don't. Is there something you can point to in your life, political life, or in your life in the last 4 years that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes, and they range from, you know, if you've ever parented a child, you know, you make lots of mistakes too. In my role as vice president, I mean, I probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues, and I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question.
I want you to meet Pam Thistle. She's from Winmore, Pennsylvania. She's a realtor. She's a widow. Her husband, Mike, died just a year ago. She has 2 daughters in college. She registered with no party affiliation and says she's undecided. She has concerns about how you would handle the economy. Pam?
Thank you. And thank you, Anderson. And happy belated birthday too.
Thank you very much.
I'm
sorry for your loss.
Oh, thank you. Yes. And I'm really appreciative for you to be here and get to know you. When you talk about rich people paying their fair share, can you be more specific? Income taxes are already on a graduated scale, where the more you make, the higher percentage you pay in taxes. So the rich are paying a disproportionate amount in taxes as it is. Over 40% of Americans don't pay any income taxes. Also, the really high earners may move their money offshore if there are disincentives in the US. This could impact the economy. I would like to hear more nuts and bolts about your economic plans.
Sure. Thank you, Pam. So first of all, it is the case in the United States of America that billionaires on average pay less taxes as a percentage than teachers and firefighters and nurses.
I'm talking about hard workers like pound the street, have some success.
Yes, no, I understand, but I want to just let's set the scene, right?
Yeah.
So when I say that the richest among us need to pay their fair share,
okay,
I am referencing that, and I need to reference that because sadly, Donald Trump, when he was president, gave tax cuts to the richest, to billionaires and big corporations, which added trillions of dollars to our deficit. So that sadly needs to be said in a way that should be obvious to your point, but is not given what he did. Now, in terms of what we need to do to bring down taxes, I have pledged and have a plan for a middle-class tax cut that would affect 100 million Americans, including, for example, what we will do around small businesses in terms of tax deductions, in terms of what small businesses are now being mired in terms of a bureaucracy around they have to fill out and do their taxes in a way that actually holds them back. Part of my plan includes extending a middle-class tax cut that would include a $6,000 tax cut, essentially a child tax credit for parents and young parents in particular, knowing that the vast majority of our parents have a natural desire to parent their children well, but not always the resources. So this is going to include an extra amount of just money that people can use to pay for childcare, which is far too expensive for too many working families. And part of the issue here is this. We cannot, and I will not, raise taxes on anyone making less than $400,000 a year, but we do need to take seriously the system that benefits the richest and does not help out working middle class Americans. I come from the middle class, and I believe that the middle class needs tax breaks to be able to actually not just get by, but get ahead.
So you're saying, well, what you're saying is anyone under 400,000 won't have taxes raised. Or are you saying that anyone above 400,000 will have a tax raise?
I'm saying that there is going to be a parity around what the richest people pay in terms of their taxes. Right now, Anderson, you know, the document, it is well documented that some of the richest people in our country have gotten away with a zero tax rate.
But if you're earning $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 under your plan, there's a good chance you're
we can't have this conversation without knowing it's a very complicated situation, right? If you're talking about a small business owner, I'm going to cut taxes for small businesses, right? Because I know that they need the overhead, the money that they need for overhead to actually benefit the growth of their business, which benefits our economy as a whole.
Let's go to, actually, I want to reference something that about Pam. Pam, we mentioned her husband Steve died a year ago. You've talked about your mom, Kamala Harris, who died 15 years ago. What has grief been like for you? Do you still grieve?
Yeah, you don't stop grieving. You don't stop grieving. I mean, I think that there is, there are like two sides to a coin when you have lost somebody you love. Or that two sides to a coin, that phrase becomes evident, which is if you have had the blessing of a close and important relationship with someone, the other side of the coin, lose them, the grief becomes even deeper. But I also believe that, for example, anyone who has lost a family member through cancer or an illness, my mother died from cancer, it is important to try and remember them as they lived and not as they died, because the grief can really weigh you down. I think the brain has a way of, when you're grieving, really spiraling down, and it's important, I think, to try and remember those you have lost in a way they'd want to be remembered, as being vibrant. And I think it's important to just to grieve as one does. I don't think there's any correct or proper way to grieve. And the most important thing is I think that people do not suppress what they're feeling at any moment, and the rest of us should give them grace to go through it as they will.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with more from the Senior President Hall with Vice President Kamala Harris.
Okay, what were you saying, Dr. Israel?
I was making a comment, and like the answer about the wall. There's sometimes when we get a question, we don't quite answer the question. We revert back to what Trump has done or is doing. And I can sometimes see the frustration on the face of the people because they didn't really get a clear answer to their question. So, for example, the $650 million for the wall, all right. We know, and how she responded about Trump building a wall in Mexico, paying for it. A different type of answer would have been, because I know the inspiration behind that is build that wall, build that wall. So to turn that around into a positive for us, we're going to take that $650 million and look and see what areas of the existing wall need to be repaired. We're going to repair what needs to be repaired. We're going to fortify what needs to be fortified, but we can only do that if that bill is passed so that we can get the money to hire the, hire the people that patrol the border, that will allow us to determine where the best use of that $650 million is. So you've turned that whole thing around so that they know we're going to look at that wall instead of that $650 million being a mocking. And then obviously, if you are budgeting $650 million, Mexico is not paying for the wall. So take that, understand the inspiration behind why they were saying that, and then just turn it around into a positive. And then directly answering, like with the anti-Semitism, we know that Trump I don't want to say he is a Nazi. I don't want to be like that, but you don't say Hitler and Jews, I love Jews in the same, in the same sentence with that. So sometimes a more direct answer rather than referring to what Trump is going to do or is doing. We know that people are asking, what are you specifically want to do? How am I going to feel secure with what you are going to do? My fear is already what he is doing or is going to do, and so just add it with the Palestinians. Understand something. If Trump gets in office, he will authorize Netanyahu to do what he wants to do, and that is genocide. Make no bones about it. Okay. That is why all of a sudden everything has shifted to the war in Lebanon. Okay, pay attention to what is, going on. We can't guarantee that a bomb will not hit and destroy something that does not need to be destroyed. But the one thing we can say, if Trump gets in, there will be even more bloodshed than there is now. So those are just things that I was thinking about when she was giving answers, and she's been doing absolutely fabulous so far.
We need to get you connected with her so you can give some advice.
It's hard. She's in a hard position. People don't want her to succeed. Those who are still undecided, their undecision is a decision. They have enough information, okay, right now. They don't even realize why they're undecided. They're undecided because she is a Black woman and they're just not sure about that.
And we are back with Vice President Kamala Harris. I want you to meet Rob McPherson,
Black Indian.
officer for a local organization. He's registered Republican from Media, Pennsylvania, who told us he's leaning towards voting for you, but has concerns about what he calls shifts in your policy positions. Rob?
Thank you. Thank you for being here, Vice President Harris. So welcome to Delco.
Thank you.
Here in Delco, we pride ourselves on being authentic.
Yes.
And much of what we have seen much of what you've been saying with regard to issues like law and order and fracking reflect a more centrist view than what people are used to hearing from Kamala Harris, leaving some voters to wonder about the authenticity of your current, more moderate positions. Can you talk a little bit about how your positions have shifted and why?
Sure, and thank you. So first of all, on fracking, I've been very clear. We couldn't just.
Oh no.
Just refresh the screen. Just hit refresh the screen. It'll come back up.
If you'll let me get that from here, okay.
Yeah, refresh the website and it'll come back up. There you go.
Of law and order, as you mentioned, I think there's just a whole lot of misinformation, to be honest with you. I have personally prosecuted very serious crime. It's how I started my career. I spent most of my career as a prosecutor, not in Washington, D.C. And as my first priority had and remains as a first priority to me, the safety of the American people. So that has not changed. And sadly, I think that there's a bit of misinformation, if not more than a bit. But I'm glad that you raised the subject so that I can address it. But just, if you don't mind, just let me just finish.
Okay.
I think the spirit of your question is really important, and I'm glad you raised it. Our country deserves to have a president of the United States who is not afraid of good ideas and does not stand on pride. If a perspective needs to be informed by different points of view to build consensus and to have a common sense approach, I'm never going to shy away from good ideas. And I'm not going to feel the need to have pride associated with a position that I've taken, when the important thing is to build consensus to fix problems. I believe in fixing problems. I love fixing problems. And so I pledge to you to be a president who not only works for all Americans, but works on getting stuff done. And that means compromise. And it doesn't mean compromising your values or your principles, but it does mean working to get stuff done. And I pledge to you I will do that.
Just to be clear, though, what he's referring to, and you point out to when you're running for vice president in 2020, you were not talking about banning fracking, but
no, Anderson, I
2019.
I know you not ban fracking.
Correct.
You know, you had said in the 2019 town hall, there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. In 2017, you talked about Medicare for all. You talked about 2019, you raised a hand in debate about if border crossings should be decriminalized. Are all of those issues, which those are not your positions now, are all those issues that you're saying through consensus and getting stuff done, you have evolved on?
Well, no, let's take, for example, the issue of Medicare. My point has always been that access to healthcare should not just be a privilege of those who can afford it. It should be a right for all people. So that is why I have worked on doing what we have done to, one, allow Medicare to negotiate against the big pharmaceutical companies to bring down the cost of prescription medication. We've achieved that in terms of capping the cost of insulin for seniors at $35 a month, capping the cost of annual prescriptions at $2,000 a year for seniors. But my plan moving forward, based on that very principle that I've always had, is as president, to have that cap be for everyone and not just for our seniors. The work that I have done that has been about recognizing the importance of dealing with border security, that has never changed. As I said, I have prosecuted transnational criminal organizations. That I did for years before I ever ran in 2019.
I mean, you did raise your hand saying in debate when asked if border crossing should be decriminalized, but obviously that is not your position.
I never intended, nor will I ever allow America to have a border that is not secure. I believe we need to deal with illegal immigration. There needs to be consequences, which is why part of my plan that I have outlined, and again, please go to KamalaHarris.com. Sorry to throw a website on you, but why not? And you will see that part of my plan includes what we need to do to actually do more as it relates to putting resources in, including increasing penalties for illegal crossing.
And just finally on fracking, you said you're clear you would not ban it as president.
No, I would not ban it as president.
Right, you're
She said that like a million times.
It is bad for the environment.
I think that we have proven that we can invest in a clean energy economy. We can mitigate greenhouse gas emissions. We can work on and sustaining what we need to do to protect this beautiful earth of ours and not ban fracking.
Time is short, so I want to get some more voters in. Tanisha Spall from Lansdowne, Pennsylvania. She works as an education administration manager for the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections. Registered Democrat who said she's leaning towards supporting you, has yet to make her final decision. Tanisha, welcome.
Thank you, Anderson. Thank you, Madam Vice President, for joining us this evening. I appreciate that you did acknowledge that we are a country that is faced with problems and issues. With the Supreme Court being plagued with issues, would you be in favor of expanding the court to say 12, so each justice has only one circuit court other than Chief Justice to assist in making judgments more balanced?
Well, to your point, there is no question that the American people increasingly are losing confidence in the Supreme Court. And in large part because of the behavior of certain members of that court and because of certain rulings, including the Dobbs decision and taking away a precedent that had been in place for 50 years, protecting a woman's right to make decisions about her own body. So I do believe that there should be some kind of reform of the court, and we can study what that actually looks like. But I do believe, but again, let's just, while you raise the point of the court, understand that again, in 13 days, the American people will decide who is the next president of the United States. In 13 days, you will decide who is sitting in the Oval Office on January 20th. And on one hand, you have in Donald Trump, someone who has increasingly proved himself to be unstable, and who, as we have established and the people close to him have established, is unfit to serve. Somebody who on January 20th, you can be sure, will spend full time, like we know, and we've seen the image mentally of him sitting in the dining room off of the Oval Office, watching for hours as people violently attack the Capitol. You can be sure, because he has said he would weaponize the Department of Justice to go after his political enemies, that you can look at a Donald Trump in the White House after January 20th, sitting in that Oval Office, plotting his revenge. He has talked about the enemies within. We haven't even raised that subject, Anderson. The enemies within. He's talking about the American people. He's talking about journalists, judges, nonpartisan election officials. He has talked about, as John Kelly has talked about, can he send the military after peaceful protesters? And he's going to sit there stable, unhinged, plotting his revenge, plotting his retribution, creating an enemies list. I'm going to tell you, my list will be a list of how I address and continue to address the issues that you all are raising this afternoon and evening. It will be a to-do list about how we can impact the American people and lift up the American people and address some of the challenges that we continue to face.
I want to get one last questioner in. This is Elkin Pleat, the student at Temple University, registered Democrat, leaning towards voting for you, has yet to make up his final decision. Elkin.
Hi. First of all, go Birds, and hi I'm from Danville, California.
Oh, hi, Elkin.
But my question is, what is the proudest moment of your political career thus far, including when you were the AG?
Oh, that's a great one. I've actually had a few. One of them is I, as Attorney General of California, created what I named the Bureau of Children's Justice. And you may be familiar with that as a Californian. And it was because I believe that, frankly, we still have a lot to do in terms of policy that impacts children. And an investment in the children of our country is an investment in all of us and our future. And that work has actually produced significant results. That has been a proud moment for me. It was a proud moment for me to do the work that we've been doing that has addressed issues like maternal mortality. I mean, it's in response to an incredible tragedy, but lifting up that issue in a way that we agree that America should not have one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the world. So I have had the good fortune of, in my life as a public servant, knowing the impact that we can have. And I guess that is probably what motivates me most, because I know we can make a difference. I really do. And I do believe that the American people deserve a president who's going to be hardworking and, you know, will make mistakes from time to time, but is focused on you. And I think that is so fundamental in this election. So fundamental. You deserve a president. I believe the American people deserve a president who's saying, look, let's just be practical. Let's get things done. And let's not be afraid of having a little joy to the point of, you know, what makes you feel good about your work. Let's do it in a way that is grounded in optimism. You know, the thing that I think we all know about who we are as the American people, we are a people who are ambitious. We have aspirations, we have dreams. We are inherently optimistic. Inherently optimistic. And I think people are exhausted with the idea that we're just going to be divided and angry instead of working on the problems and working together. And that's what motivates me, and that's what makes me proud when we're able to do that. So.
Vice President Kamala Harris, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Thanks to all the voters here. Be sure to CNN on November 5th for election night in America right here on CNN. Jake Tapper and Aaron Burnett pick it up right now.
I think she answered the last question very well.
And thank you. You've been watching CNN's Town Hall with Vice President Kamala Harris and Undecided.
Okay. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, me. I think she answered those last questions very well.
What did you say, Sunkari?
I said she answered those questions very well. And I was glad that when she said to Andy, say, hold on, let me finish. That was a good one also.
I'm telling you, it's like, stop already. Can I speak? Goodness. Ay.
I wonder what it's going to be like when she and Michelle Obama take the stage, I think in Michigan, somewhere towards the end.
Oh, wow. We're going to get fire on the mountain.
And man. So what did y'all think? How did our VP do, our future president? Anybody want to give an opinion?
Yeah, I appreciate the way she always has an answer. Like, she is so confident. I love the way she's like, you will never catch her off guard. She always has the right answer at the right time, and she never even stammers when she gives the answer. So that shows a lot of confidence, and like she knows what she's doing. So yeah, I appreciate that.
I think also over as you see her more confident, she's speaking, she's responding to the answers, like the previous lady said, on her toes. So I like the fact that she's also going to various media places. So and not afraid to go into the enemy's territory and take the battle to them.
I like the fact that she could hold her own amongst these men. This isn't the first time that they've tried to overtalk her or try to throw a whole bunch of questions, bombard her with stuff so she gets thrown off. I like the way that she could handle it without coming off too aggressive, but yet coming off to say, respect me. Let me finish saying what I'm saying, and then you can talk. That's a conversation. I love that about her. She did that with Fox, and now she's had to do it with CNN. So I love that about her.
Clementina, I see your hand up.
You're speaking, you're still on mute, Clementina. No? Okay. Anybody has any comments
About how she did? And yeah, CNN is a joke. You're right, Udi. They've become a total complete joke. I barely watch them anymore. It's just it's unfortunate. CNN growing up used to be the news place. Now they just,
Okay. Sorry, I'm unmuted now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I like the way she, like Cordelia said, took the fight to the enemy's camp the other day, Fox News, and she was able to answer their questions and corrected them on some of their own crap too. I think she's answering all the questions well. It might not be exactly what we want, but when you listen carefully, she's answering all the questions and she's giving them a lot more detail than they really should have. So if anybody's undecided at this point, I don't know what they're undecided about. But I think she's doing great, and I see her as the next president of the United States of America.
I think Miss Charlotte said it best earlier. They're not comfortable because she's a Black woman. She's a woman and she's Black, and they don't quite know what it is, right? What's her name on MSNBC? I can't remember her name now. I should have recorded her when she asked someone the question. When people say they want to hear more, they want to know more.
Yeah, Alex. It was Alex.
Not her though. She's blonde, not Alex Wagner. It was
the other one.
It was a little while ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a little while ago, and she literally asked I actually recorded it on my TV screen, and I just haven't had time to put it out there. Like, she literally asked the question, and she's like, "Is it really that? Is it really that they don't know, or is there more to it? Is it more maybe because of who she is?" And I mean, she literally just asked the question, right? And I think that is sort of the elephant in the room that people avoid talking about when they have these pundits having conversations. And there's the question of, well, she's not with these people in the polls where Biden was at the same time. Whereas Biden had been running at this point for what? Over a year, maybe two. She's been running for 100 days, y'all. 100 days. 100 days she's been running for president. And everything is being thrown at this woman as if she's the decision maker throughout this three and some years, when she had no decision-making power whatsoever, where anything she did was at the direction of the sitting president. She has two roles. If the president cannot perform, she steps in and she oversees the Senate. That's it. Those are her two roles. There's nothing else. She doesn't make law. She doesn't make policy. Whatever she may want to get done, she has to talk to him and he has to agree. But everything has been thrown at this woman, and we all know why. And at some point, we need to just be honest. That's why I love Keith Boykin. I love that man. He sat there in front of CNN and told them exactly why. He said, you all know why. She's a Black woman. You all know why. She's a Black woman. And white supremacy says she should not be there. But she is.
They better get used to it. November 5th is around the corner.
You know?
And she's just a woman in general. I know America as a whole, as a student, someone who grew up here, they're not comfortable with a woman being the head of a business, CEO, etc. They've said it. I think it was Alex on MSNBC, because that's mostly what I watched, that in Sky News and BBC. She did an interview yesterday in PA, which everyone should watch. It was very disheartening. She spoke to Black and other people that are, people of color that are Republican adjacent, that's supporting Trump. And to hear the nonsense coming out of their mouths was just very sad. They were very angry. They said that they would support Trump's immigration reform to kick out all the immigrants. And this was coming from Black people's face and mouths, and how they want him to round us up, I guess. And then even a young Guatemala boy was talking about how the illegal immigrants are making him look bad. It's just like, it's brainwashing. And it's self-hate, and they don't know any better, and it's horrible. And they were saying that because she's a woman, that they don't think that women are just trained to be in that kind of position. One Black lady said that she didn't feel that she was qualified, education, or experience. And I'm like, but Trump literally has no qualifications. He's literally a con artist, 34-time convicted, soon to be felon. Like, I'm looking forward to that day. She has no convictions, none of that stuff. She's a prosecutor, she's experienced, and they're still saying she's not experienced. I think these people just don't want to vote for her because they don't feel comfortable with her.
Miss Charlotte, is this a new hand?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, God, help me. First of all, Fatma.
Hello, I'm back.
Okay, hold on, Miss Charlotte.
Something that you said needs to be communicated to people. Most people do not know the role of the vice president. They don't know the role of the vice president. So when the question gets asked, you were, your administration for, 4 years or whatever it is, you didn't do it then. How are you going to do it now? Why are you going to do it now? Number one, as vice president, my role is to exactly what you said. In case the president becomes unable to perform his duties, then I take over. And then also my role in the Senate. There is only one president at a time. A lot of people are not really aware of that. Okay. And then going back to history, in slavery, you have your field Negroes and you have your house Negroes. You can tell the difference between the two. Listen, I'm American, okay, and you can tell the difference between the two. There are some that no matter what, they will not trust another Black person. They will only trust that white male, okay, because that is a fact. That's it. You're not going to change them because you can take people out of slavery, But just like in the Bible, they could take them out of Egypt, but they couldn't take the Egypt out of them. And that's a fact sometimes. Okay. And so, you know, the people that are undecided, all right, they're still frightened. Even that man who asked about the abortion, we don't know what he knows about her. And I hear that all the time. I was a Republican up until 5 years ago. From the time I was 18, I'll be 73. Okay. I work with the Republicans. I live in a Republican, very strong. So I know how these people correct. So in some cases, she needs to maybe explain that a little bit more when that question comes up, have them explain what they've heard about her. That's all I have to say about that, you know, but yeah, some people you will not change, even if they are Black, doesn't mean they have a Black mindset, okay, because there are just some people that will always only accept that, okay, Caucasian persuasion. And my hand is down.
Okay. I see Chris's hand up. Or Mr. Bull, you got something?
No, today is just a proud day for me. My nephew is on the detail bodyguard to Kamala Harris. I saw him on the stage.
Oh,
all right.
The black guy that was standing in the back is my nephew. He's on the detail on Secret Service for Kamala Harris. Africans in the diaspora go.
Hey!
Yes, he was standing there. I know he was on the detail, but I've never said it, but he was on the stage today on duty with Kamala Harris. He is one of the lead Secret Service detail for Kamala Harris. So
are you supposed to be telling people this?
Well, he's there. Hey, he was on the
Just saying. Just saying, Dr. Bull. Just saying. Because I don't know. I'm supposed to be knowing all.
He's on the stage. People know him. He was on duty.
All right, now. Don't got nobody coming out to my house and stuff, Miss Dr. Bull. No, just saying.
Right.
Just saying. Chris.
Listen, I'm getting really frustrated, tired of all these naysayers, doubters, and all this nonsense. In the 250 plus years of America, we've only had 11 Black senators, right? Maybe one. I don't know how many female Black senators. One or two? Two.
Her
we've only had,
and whatchamacallit?
You've only had 3 Black governors in the history of this country, right?
Westmore just made 3.
Yep.
A year ago.
So
2 years ago.
no matter what Kamala says, no matter what she does, people are going to scrutinize and say this and say that. At this point, like Clyde said, if you don't want to come to our barbecue, stay at your barbecue. We're going to stay at our barbecue. Because I don't think she's going to be able to please anybody and everybody with these. I'm watching Jake Tapper and Dana Bash right out of the gates. They stopped bashing her. Well, she didn't look for it. She didn't answer the questions. Donald Trump never answers the questions. At least she stays on topic. She's not going to give you all the detailed answer that you need for most of these questions. Because as the president, we all know the executive branch does not make, they do not write laws. The Congress does, right? So she's limited what she can say and what she can do. I think the question on the wall and all that, she was long-winded, but she ended up saying, hey, what I want to do is solve the border problem. That is the answer. Whatever it takes, build a wall, add more judges, add more officers, whatever it is, she wants to solve the problem. And I think for tonight, her greatest moment was when that guy asked about what's your greatest weakness. The way she answered that question was the greatest moment. At this point, people don't want to join it. People are gonna vote for who they want to vote for. If you decide, the alternative is not an option. The folks in Michigan that are going through all this and we're not going to vote for her, do what you got to do. Vote for Trump. I keep telling people, whoever the president of America is going to be, I'm going to be okay. I think a lot of my friends are going to be okay. But we are not concerned about us. We're concerned about others. Yep. And if you're going to keep sitting around and making all these silly decisions, I don't know if you guys saw the MSNBC piece yesterday with Alex Wagner, with all these Black folks in Pennsylvania spewing all this illiterate, ignorant nonsense for like an hour. This is crazy. I'm done. let's just go to Pennsylvania this Saturday, election day. Let's do what we got to do. Whoever wins, wins. We're going to celebrate. We celebrate. If we lose, we go back and continue. But this is, I'm just losing patience, man. This is it. That's all I wanted to say. So people don't get disappointed. Elon Musk is, if for those of us that are big on Twitter, he's literally writing algorithms to push, to make you start second guessing the stuff that you believe in or what you know is real. He's in Pennsylvania. He's been in Pennsylvania for like the last month, just paying people to go out there and say all these crazy things. Peter Thiel runs Polymarket. Polymarket is the one skewing all these polls on social media. So don't get disappointed. Don't get discouraged. Just do what you got to do. I think Dr. Bull always says it. You vote, you make sure all your family members vote. Your nephews, your nieces, your seniors, wherever the people that you know. I was just in my soccer group, and I just kept taking everybody. Have you voted? Have you voted? Have you voted? These are the little things we control. We don't control all this outside nonsense. So, guys, let's not get disappointed. I don't think this election is going to be close, but we'll see what happens in 2 weeks. That's all I got to say. But I'm tired. I'm tired of the noise.
Hey, Pius, you've been very quiet.
So, for those of you tracking North Carolina, I see Clementina's hand is up if she wants to speak.
Is that a new hand, Clementina? I thought it was the old hand.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
So can I share something quickly on the North Carolina daily polls?
Yes, please.
Okay, so North Carolina does a very good job by daily updating distribution of votes and everything. As you could see, this date is from the 23rd, so tomorrow morning we'll get an update. 21% of the folks have voted that are eligible to vote, 1,700,000 vote cast. But as you could see right here, the Democrats pretty much are outpacing the Republicans on the one-to-one vote right now. And we know not all Republicans are going to vote Republicans, and we know most Democrats will vote Democrats. So this is a good sign. But what we are not sure of is the unaffiliated. This number right here is 17%. This is the independents in North Carolina. We are not sure how they would broke on this issue, and we are tracking these to make sure it happens moving forward. You could see down here, we're beginning to get these numbers that would affect the overall count. Libertarians, the Green, no labels, 2,500 people just decided to waste their votes, no labels. The Constitution, We the People, all these funny groups of people. But it is encouraging to see that where the Democratic strongholds are, we are running high compared to where the rural areas are. So Alamance is one area that is Democratic stronghold. Durham, of course, is a Democratic stronghold. You're seeing 64. Charlotte-Mecklenburg, you could see 168,000. So it's going to take 5 or 6 of these little rural areas or 10 of these rural areas to max out Charlotte-Mecklenburg. Now, Biden won Charlotte by 72%, Durham by 80-some%, Wake by almost 70%. So the numbers are encouraging where the votes are. The Democrats are really, really voting in North Carolina, and we are tracking these numbers to make sure it happens. So if we use the percentages from the last election only, this is good. Wake County, where Biden won by almost 70%, easily you could say there are 100,000 votes here if the matrix holds true. Same with Charlotte-Mecklenburg, same with Durham, and all of those areas. So it's very, very important that we are tracking this. But the goal for North Carolina is we need to get this 21% to get to close to 40, even 50%, because we know the Republicans, they outnumber Democrats on election day almost 2-to-1. So it's critical. It's looking good. We are very hopeful for what is happening in North Carolina. I mean, look at the same amount of voting for Hillary Clinton. During the Clinton era, it was 818 at the same time. During the pandemic in 20, we are behind by almost 400,000 or 500,000 votes, but it's going to catch up because North Carolina does a very good job on a daily basis, and it predicts. And we have more Democrats registered than Republicans. Always the X factor is the independent in North Carolina. And so if you go to the website, you could track this, and they do a very good job by county, by daily votes. And I just wanted to share this with you to say there is hope in North Carolina, and we are not giving up because we're going to fight until we win.
Yeah, somebody, Udi said, Dr. Bull, can you pull that back up? So Udi said low turnout by Black people, but what you want to look at is the percentage, Udi. So go up, Dr. Bull, where it has the breakdown of demographics, right? So ballot by race, you go down. So if you see turnout, it's not that much different in percentage, right? 24.42% white, 20% Black. So the percentage, it looks low because of the amount of Black people in comparison to white people, right? So,
yes, you're correct. Yes.
So you can see, so it's not so much low turnout of Black people, it's about the same percentage.
Yes.
So it's 20% of Black registered voters as what's turned up, and 24% of white registered voters.
Yes, because in North Carolina, we only have like 20% of Black voters. Okay, so it's 1.5. So compared to white, that is 63%, and others is 16%. So we are able to track this information on a daily basis. And so far, so good. It's looking good. And where it counts the most, where the Black population is in the Durham area. Okay, so Durham, if you look at Durham, you could see right here 64,000. Wake County, it's really high in Wake. So Wake is 175,000. So if you look at all these small rural areas, even on this bottom piece, let us assume you give all of these little rural areas to the Republican. It does not even add up to 100,000 or 120,000. So you could see the advantage where the Harris-Walz, they're focusing is on these big areas, Wake, Charlotte, Forsyth County, around the Guilford area. You could see the numbers there are reflective, 66,000. That's where a lot of Black people, Durham, 64,000. So it's encouraging Guilford, because Guilford and Winston-Salem and Greensboro, that's a populated area. If you combine the two, it's close to 150,000 votes right there. So we are tracking this because then we're going to use the matrix of looking at the percentages from the last election to see if those percentages remain the same on the last day of polling in North Carolina. Where do we stand as it relates to this election? And it's looking really, really, really good. All of these areas that you see, the little 2,000 and all of that stuff, these are all in the rural areas. They're all Trump areas. And we hope that things would move and it will be helpful. So just wanted to share it. And next Wednesday, I will share it again on our last session and probably do some percentages based on Biden's percentages to see where the numbers stack in terms of where we're going.
Well, thank you, Dr. Bull.
You're welcome.
Great information. All right, people, it's 10:36.
Let's go vote. And let's fight so we win. Get your neighbors, get your cousins, get your nieces and nephews, those college students who have not registered yet. Find them on campus, get them to register and vote the same day. North Carolina allows that. We've done that with several students that we took with their passports. They registered and they gave them the paper and they voted the same day. So it can be done.
Exactly. So it's GOTV time. Get out the vote time. So that's all we are doing right now. Get out the vote. So Chris had put a link in to volunteer for the campaign. You can do phone banking if you don't want to go canvassing, door knocking. We're leaving on Saturday to go to Pennsylvania again. So
hey, Saturday, Pennsylvania, more info. I'm gonna harass you till you give us more details, Miss Fatma.
There is no detail. You get your email. There's no detail.
I haven't gotten any emails since like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you will, and you probably have gotten a text because I got a text. So you should probably get a text giving you an update that is going to happen. So they'll give you the address and you show up, and there'll be a bus because now there's a whole lot more of us than there was last time. So this time it's going to be on a bus to take us to Pennsylvania. So right now there are over 45 people registered. It's gonna be, a nice group of us.
Who's bringing the cassava leaves and fried fish and cassava bread?
I'll
bring the drinks.
It's Sharif. Sharif is bringing
it. So you will get an email that says, please bring snacks with you because they're not offering snacks. So we had to bring our own stuff. When you get there, they have water, they have snacks that you can grab from, at least where we were dropped off of last time. So still trying to get the exact location where we're going because they let us.
Can we plan something as a group as far as food and drinks?
Can you do what?
Can we plan something as a group, the Diaspora group?
It's a little hard because again, we don't have any money because we're not a fundraising.
No, I'm talking about individually. Let's tag team and decide who's bringing what. You bring this, you bring this. You know what I mean? Like items of need. If you want to, we can take that offline on the side.
Yeah, let's take that offline on the side.
Yeah.
But anybody can bring kind of any snacks they want to bring, any drinks you may want to bring. But remember that we're going to be doing a lot of walking, so you don't want to be carrying a lot of heavy stuff. So when we canvass and door knock. And I'm not sure how far are we going. Last time we went out 2 hours, but by the time we got to the location where we're going to be door knocking, it was 30 minutes away from the initial drop off. So from there to come back, it was only a little over an hour. But that was closer to the Maryland line. I'm not quite sure where we're going this time. I'm waiting for them to give me final information. Okay. But we'll be in PA where they think they need us. So. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here, for joining us all the way till this time of the night. We appreciate you very much, and we will see you again next week. Next week is our last meeting as a mobilizing group for Harris-Walz because the election is over the next Tuesday. Okay? All right, everybody. Good night, and thanks again.
Good night.
Recording not stopping.
Good night. Good night, everyone.